Hello and welcome to SudoKanard. Here's a puzzle that was the sensation in UK Sudoku Championship of 2022. It's called Lockout Lines. It was the highest pointer in the round, and it was definitely a tribute to the British Queen's Jubilee with this crown and the diamonds on the crown, I must say. So the special rule of Lockout Lines, and I think that's the first time that this variant of Sudoku has appeared in a contest, it is that whenever you have two diamonds linked by such a line, then the digits must be distant by at least 4. So you couldn't have a 1 and a 2. A 1 and a 5 would be fine, a 1 and 8 would be fine. And all digits along the line between the symbols, between the diamonds, must be outside of the interval. For example, if I put a 1 here and a 5 there, then these digits must be from 6, 7, 8, 9, outside the interval 1, 5. They must be locked out of the line. So I did not attempt the puzzle during the contest. I knew I wouldn't solve all the puzzles anyway, so I focused on puzzles that looked easier. And when I looked at it afterwards, I just didn't know where to start. I suspected that the top of the crown was the key, and indeed it was. So what can happen here? Well, this jewel must have a difference of 4 at least with both digits here. And symmetry told me that 5 would make sense. 5 would make sense with a 1 and a 9 in here. So 5 would have a difference of 4 with a 1 and a 9. But why would it be that very digit? Why wouldn't 6 work? And there's a very good reason why 6 wouldn't work. If I put 6, and what I'm about to explain will work with any digit other than 5. So what are the digits that are at least 4 away from 6? Well, there are 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 must go here using the 2 down there, but actually they could be the other way around. The logic would be the same, and the logic is that all digits here must be outside the interval between 6 and 2. And with other digits, they will be outside the interval between the two digits that are closest. So they must be from 1, 7, 8, 9. And those digits must be from the same interval, because the interval is bigger, so the available digits are in lower number. And the most important part is that all digits in the interval from 2 to 6 must be outside the lines, and there are 5 digits in the interval, and they must fit into 3 cells, which is impossible. And what I've explained with 6 and 2 also works with, say, 7 and 3, or 8 and 4, or 9 and 5, except that if I put a 5 in here, I will have 1 and 9 here, which are on both sides of 5. Whereas with any other digits that I put at the top of the crown, those digits on the side of the crown must be on the same side of the top digit. You see that 2 and 1 are both lower than 6. And it would work the same if I put a 3 here. Those digits must both be bigger than 3, and I run into the same impossibility. So this explains that this has to be a 5, and I need to have the 1 and the 9 in here. So that's the first breaking of the puzzle. Now I can disambiguate this. So how do I do that? Well, I must take note of the 8 and the 4s. So I see there must be an 8 somewhere here, and a 4 somewhere there. But then 8 can be here, 8 can be on the lockout lines. But if 4 is here, if 8 is here, then that tells me nothing about whether this is a 1 or a 9, and the same here. Whereas an 8 here would help me decide. So let's assume that 8 and 4 are there, are both outside the lines. Then I run into an issue with digit 5 on the third row, because it can't be here because of Sudoku, and it can't be in any of those cells because of the rule of lockout lines. So this case can't happen. I must have an 8 in here, or a 4 in here, and possibly both cases. And that's interesting because having an 8 here prevents this from being a 9, because 8 is in the interval between 5 and 9, so that wouldn't work. So if 8 is here, then this can't be 9. And likewise, if I put a 4 here, then I can never put a 1 in here, because 4 is in the interval between 1 and 5. So in one case, this can be a 9, in the other case, this can be a 1. So in both cases, this is the 1, and this is the 9. And I think this is really a wonderful logical construction. Let's move on to the other 2 diamonds on this part of the crown. So this has a distance of 4 at least with 1. So it must be from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's a lot of candidates. But actually, 1 here would be impossible because I would need to put digits out of the range from 1 to 9, and there are none in Sudoku. So 9 is impossible. And 8 is impossible for a similar reason. There's a digit outside the range of 1 to 8, and that's 9. But I will never put 9 in both cells here. So 8 is impossible. And here I can apply the same logic, but in a symmetric sense. So the digit has to be from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 1 and 2 are impossible for the same reason. Here I won't find any digit outside the range. Here I will find only digit 1 outside the range, and that's not enough. So that's not the 2. And now look at those digits and those digits. I must choose digits that differ by at least 4, and the only way is to have a 7 here and a 3 there. That's really beautiful logic. And we can go further because the digits here must be outside the range from 3 to 9, so they must be 1 and 2. And because of these 2, we can even disambiguate. Similarly, I need digits here outside the range from 1 to 7, so they must be 8 and 9, but this time I can't have a disambiguation right from the get-go. So this can't be 8 anymore. And those must be from 1 to 8 and 9. And that's pretty nice, I must say. On this line, they must be outside the range from 1 to 5, so they must be from 6, 7, 8, 9. But 8 and 9 are not here, that's not 7, that's not 8. Here they must be from 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not a 3, that's not a 4, that's not 1 or 2. And 5 still has to be at either end of this row, but this is not the time to look at this. Let's have a look at the inner loop of the crown. And we see that there are quite a number of options for those 2 digits. But this one has only 5 options. All right, 5 options is still a lot. And this here also has 5 options. But we'll see that a lot of them will soon be removed. So how do we remove this? First, 5, as we saw earlier, must be with a 1 and a 9 on those two cells. But 1 and 9 are both forbidden here. So this is not 5, and this is not 5 for the same reason. Now, 6 here is not possible because I would need in those two cells a 1 and a 2, but neither of them can be a 1. So 6 is not possible. And the same is true for this 6. What happens if I try to make this a 4? I have very few options here. There are 8 and 9. But then 4 is no more an option here. And with 8 or 9 here, namely 8, this will not work. The difference is lower than 4. So 4 has to be removed from here as well. And now this is at least 6. So 6 or 7 or 8. And this is true for this as well. But now this digit must have a difference of at least 4 with that. Oh, and 9 is an option here as well, sorry. And so those two digits must have a difference of 4 at least with this. So the only way is to have a 4 here, an 8 there, and a 9 there. And 9 is removed from those options. And 2 and 3 seem to be both possible at this point. 9 disambiguates the 8 and 9s in here, and I get a free 8 in here. So that's some solid progress, I think. Let's have a look at what can go on those lines. This is not between 4 and 9, so it has to be 1, 2, or 3, so this is 1 or 3. This can't be between 4 and 8, so it must be from 1, 2, 3, 9. This can't be between this digit and this, so it must be from 1 and 2. So the only way is to have this equal to 1, and this is 3. That's not 1. And up there, that's not a 3. And this won't be between this digit and this, so it must be from 1, 2, and 9. So it has to be a 2 or a 9. And this 2-9 pair makes this a 3. And I get a 3 here by Sudoku, which makes this a 4. And I get the 1-4 pair in here. A 1-2 pair, sorry. The construction is really incredible. So this row, so I think that's it for the lockout lines logic. The rest of the solve is pure Sudoku now. So let's move on to pure Sudoku. This row needs 5, 6, and 7. This row needs 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have to write down lots of candidates. And actually, this box needs 5, 6, and 7. And you'll see that eliminations just arrive along the way. This column needs an 8. It can only be here. Is there another 8 missing? Well, this 8 now removes this option, so 8 is here. And I think I've got all 8s. What about 4s? Well, I need a 4 somewhere in here. What about 2s? Oh, that's really not easy to find such restrictions, but 3 is more restricted. There's a 3 here. There's a 3 up there. There's a 3 in here. And in this box, 3 is in here. And you see that on the second row, 3 can only be here. So there's something to disambiguate at this point. What about those? They must be from 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this is 5, 6, or 7. There must be a 2 somewhere in here. This row still needs a 9. And actually, I could have a look at digit 9. Oh, but a lot of it is still to be determined. All right, so this row needs 4, 5, 6, and 9. So 5, 6, or 9. 4, 5, and 6. So this part will take quite some time. This column still needs 5, 6, 7, and 9. This row still needs a 5. This box still needs a 4, which is down there. So this is from 5, 6, 7 and 5, 6, 7. And that's interesting because I get a triple in this column and the remaining digits, and you see that on this column, oh, actually, I've been missing this. 8 here makes this a 2, that's a 1, that's an 8. I was about to find something much more complicated to find those digits. This is 4, 6, 7, and I've got 4 options for this digit. That's not interesting. So this is from 1, 2, and 9. And 3. What can this be? 5, 6, 7, 9. That's not interesting. 4 is not in here. 4 is around here. So I think it's more or less brute force at this point. Oh, sorry about that. This 2 gives the 9 and the 2, and the 1 and the 9 and the 2. So that's not so brute forcey as I was claiming. This must be from 1, 6, and 7. I don't have all ones yet. No, I don't. 1, 2, 6, 7. So this must be from 6, 7. And this is actually the 1, and that's the 2. That's better. There's 1 down there, 1 up there, not interesting. 3, that's never a 9. I need the 2 here and the 3 there, and the 3 up there. That's not a 5 anymore. And the remaining digits in this column must be 4 and 5. I need the 2 on this row, that's here. That's 4, 5, or 6. This is becoming a little clearer. This is not 4. It can only be a 5, and I get the 9 here. So I finally got the 5 on this row, but it was quite late in the game. The 9 in this box can only be here. I get a 9 here on this row. And the last 9 is in here. This is now 6 or 7. So this here is a 5. This here is not 5. I get a 6, 7 pair in this column, so that's not a 6. And I still need a 1, a 4, and a 5, so that's 1 or 5. And actually 4 can only be here. So this 4 removes this. That's not 8. I still need a 2 in this column, it must be here. This is not a 1, so that's a 1. And a 5 up there. This is 5 or 6, and the 1 in this column must be here. This is 6 or 7. Lots of 6, 7 pairs in the grid, but I don't think I need some difficult techniques. So 4 is here, and actually this 5 tells me that this is a 6, that's a 7. So they are disambiguated in a nice way. No need to use anything difficult. So that's 5, that's a 6, 7 in here, 6, 4, 5, 7, and 4 here, and 5 there, and 6 there. It's easy to get lost in all of this. That's a 5, that's a 6, that's a 4, that's a 7. I think it still works. That's a 7 here. And finally, those last digits. And that's it. So I'd say the entry ticket was quite expensive in this puzzle. The work you had to do to prove that this is a 5, you could have the intuition that this had to be a 5, but to prove it, in a rigorous way, like I think I did at the beginning of the soul, this is a great intellectual satisfaction, I must say. And then the way the rest of it unfolds was really beautiful. The end was not a struggle, but a bit on the tedious side, but that's what deserves the 101 points. I'd say that's where the puzzle had to have a longer soul, apart from the initial logic, a longer soul than the rest. I still don't understand the 82 points for the thermal, but that's another issue. So thanks for watching this video. Sorry about that. A huge thanks to Sam Cappleman-Lynes for this excellent set of puzzles. And see you soon on SudoKanard.